But that third party part is by design because as the realtor, I my motivations are to get the client to the closing table, to get them the best deal possible, or if I'm representing the seller, to get them the most money as possible. And over time, the system's been designed that I might have, as a real estate agent, I might have too much quote unquote skin in the game to give a fair assessment on a house. That's why you don't see us walking through. Plus, that's a whole licensing process, and then training that you got to go through. But we just kind of picked up on it, and they don't have X-ray vision; they can't see through the walls.
Right.
So that third party part is very important.
It is.
What would you say to somebody that's like, "Hey, I get it. Somebody's got to look at my house, but my uncle was a contractor. I mean, have you seen that?
Oh gosh, no! My uncle, my dad, my uncle's brother's, cousin Kevin. Oh yeah, he watched a whole season of this old house. So he's good, man. We don't need to do that. And what I would tell you is, when was the last time Kevin went through continuing education training? Is he being schooled in, regularly, mind you, like annually, we're going and doing these update courses. I mean, it's 2 full days of in-person training, where, sometimes we'll cover updates to the National Electrical Code or the plumbing code or the residential or the International Residential Code or the North Carolina Building Code and where they intersect. So, I mean, there's a lot of really interesting training that goes into staying a home inspector, and more than that, staying relevant as a home inspector. So yeah, I think that's kind of the biggest thing, number one. And number two, if Kevin's wrong or if Kevin misses something, you're not going to sue Kevin.
Right.
Right? Kevin's not insured to do this. I mean, a reputable home inspection company is going to carry enough liability insurance and errors and omissions insurance to be able to kind of stand on their own business in the sense that, if we do, because we're human beings, hey, you keep that license standards for a reason, because at the end of the day, we are people and we do miss things every once in a while. I mean, honestly, on average, we probably do anywhere from 1,000 to 1,200 inspections a year.
Wow.
Right? Yeah, like we're busy, buddy.
I mean, that's an interesting point, though. Aside from we talking about my uncle or my cousin or my friend, the contractor, you guys are hyper focused. Hyper focused on finding things with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And not to such an extent that we're just trying to justify our price, right? But honestly, to the sense that I love to have this conversation with agents because you have a fiduciary responsibility to your client, and I'll let you explain what fiduciary means for anybody that doesn't get it. But I have a due diligence responsibility that mirrors that fiduciary responsibility. So while you're trying to make sure that they are getting into the home that is best going to meet their needs and that they're getting the best deal possible and that we're smoothly and safely getting them to that closing table, I'm on the other side of that saying, I want to make sure that the house that they have selected is going to also meet their needs, is going to do it safely, and is going to ultimately be a safe place for them to raise their families, right? So I'm just kind of the other side, and that's why I always refer to the real estate agents as our realtor partners, right? You are your partners in this.
Yeah. So that fiduciary, real quick, we have what we do here as real estate agents when we enter into an agency agreement mirrors an attorney-client relationship. In no way do I compare us to attorneys. They've got way more training and schooling and much smarter people than I am. But it mirrors that. The fiduciary duty is putting their needs above my own, regardless of the outcome. So with that said, sometimes the home inspection doesn't look great.
Yeah.
Or there's
sometimes it's horrific.
Sometimes it's horrific. Yeah. And the realtor side, and again, why we have the third party system here is that as a realtor, again, I would never do this, and my agents would do this, are so attached to the outcome that we might say, hey, this is, I checked the house out for you. This is not that big of a deal. And then why would bring the third party in? But that was just a quick run through on fiduciary. It's you've heard a lot in the loft community, probably. It's our blind loyalty almost. As long as it's legal and moral, we're going to do what the client tells us to do.
Yeah.
So
You're their representative
Yeah.
in this thing.
have you ever had a clean home inspection? Quote unquote clean.
Never.
Never. See?
No. Never.
Okay, well, what if I'm buying a new house?
New to you or new construction?
Brand new home.
Brand new construction house. They are getting better. I would say it's researcher builder. You know, look into the reviews and you know what other clients are saying about them. You know, this is obviously for everyone looking to buy new construction, but regardless of who that builder is, understand that your builder is going to say things to you, and they're not lying. I mean, it's not like they're doing anything unscrupulous. I mean, I think most of them actually, for the most part, genuinely give a darn about the and agree with and want to build a fantastic product, right? I would say I don't think there's a builder out there that gets up in the morning and says, "Let's see who eating so you know today," right? Like I don't think they're all falling on it. Yeah, I don't think that's a thing, right? So I think at the end of the day, if you go into it with that understanding, but there are also human beings, right? And so to go back to my point, the builder will say to the realtor and to the client, yeah, I mean, if you guys want to do a home inspection, obviously you can. You're 12 and you're right to do that, but we've already had this house inspected like 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
Here's what he or she is talking about. They're talking about the county code enforcement people come out and they look at the slab and the rough end, then they look at the framing, then they come in and look at the electrical, and then so on and so forth, all the way out to completion. And then in that last final inspection, that person will issue, if everything has gone well up until this point, they will look and make and provide what's called a certificate of occupancy or a CO, right? So that CO basically, and yeah, I'm gonna make this super simple. I'm oversimplifying, right? But basically, the CO says this is no longer an active construction site. This is now a residential dwelling. People can live here. We've looked at it. People can live in here. Now, the problem with those inspections is that all of those people are working with the county and the builder to get to an end goal, which is a finished house, right?
Yeah.
At no point in time are any of those people working in the best interest of the person buying the house.
Yeah.
And therein lies the problem. Even with new construction, yes, understanding that they have had inspections done, but those inspections were done for the builder through the county to make sure that the build can continue to progress.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with safety, functionality, ensuring that, you know, if I'm looking at the build plan and it says there's supposed to be a door here with a light switch on the left, and I look and there's a window there with a light switch on the right, and I'm like, oh God, like those are the kind of things that unfortunately we find during home inspections. My favorite one on a new construction, we found a window inside a wall using our FLIR thermal imaging systems. We found and there was no insulation. It was literally, they framed out a window and said, oh crap, the window's supposed to be 2 feet that way. They just put sheetrock over it. Closed it in, painted it, and put the window over here, and we're going through and we're like, yeah, insulation's good. What the heck is that? So,
I love this story.
I can tell you crazy stories all day long about silly stuff that we find, but yeah, whether it's a resale or whether it's brand new construction, I mean, I've written 50, 60-page home inspection reports on brand new construction.
Does that mean if I get a 50 or 60 page home inspection, it's something I should stay away from?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I absolutely don't think so. Here's my theory on it. Whether it's new construction or resale, I think my theory is this. It's, you know, everything was built by people out of materials that still exist. So we still have people and we still have 2x4s. So ultimately, everything that's in that house can be fixed. The question that the person buying the house needs to ask is, do I want to assume the responsibility for these things? How much of that responsibility do I want to share with the seller?
Yeah.
So on and so forth. Now, that's resale. With new construction, yeah, you give that 50 or 60 page report back to the builder and say, I want all of this fixed. Because right now it still gets house.
Yeah.
You say, hey man, all this fixed.
And that's an interesting part of the transaction, especially on a resale. A new home, I agree. I mean, we were able to say, hey, look, this is new. And I'd say 99% of the time, you find something on a home inspection on a new home, you're good to go. You're going to get it taken care of.
Right.
Could never guarantee, disclaimer.
Sure.
But on the resale, that's when we step back in and we say, okay, what are you concerned with? What do you want fixed? You know, we look at other parts of the deal and say, hey, well, you got this house for $30,000 below market value.
Yeah.
Again, is it something you want to take on or not? But that's when we go down the road of negotiating repairs. We look at mitigating factors, and quite often people say, hey, I don't want that risk. You know, the plumbing's aged. You know, I don't want to go down that road with this house. It's not for me. And quite often people say, cool, got it. Let's see if they'll fix this. If they don't, I'm still good with it, but I'd really like to get this fixed. So it becomes, the home inspection is not only a, you know, it look into the house and see what's wrong with it. It's also, hey, this is what my to-do list might be later. Might be an investment for me. But it can also become a negotiating become a tool in the transaction.
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that. When I first started this business, for whatever reason, home inspectors just kind of had a bad rap. When everybody just kind of sat and was like,
Can I stop and tell you why?
absolutely.
Not to digress too much. When I started real estate, and I won't say any names, there was a home inspection company that marketing was. I'm trying to.
He's actually retired now.
Okay, so all right. So his marketing was, if it's not good enough for my daughter, it's not good enough for you. And the home inspector killed deals.
Yeah.
And it was intentionally. It was this home inspector took it upon themselves that they were going to save every buyer from purchasing a home.
A moral authority on real estate.
Exactly. And that was a problem. And that's where agents got really standoffish with home inspectors. That's, at least locally, that's where realtors started saying, hey, you know, yeah, maybe do get your cousin in here. Now we've got licensing rules and laws. We're not allowed to say that. We don't say that. But for theory and for thoughts over here, it's like, yeah, we get, you know, ABC home inspector in here. I don't got a deal. And most likely, we talked about there's things that can be wrong with any home that the standard, I mean, it should be, we should walk away from. It's an easy fix or something that, like in an older home, for example, sometimes floor slope. Settling over time, not necessarily anything wrong with the house, right? Maybe there is.
It's a function of age. That a lot of instances. In other instances, and it's a thing, it is, right? And that's the beauty of having a licensed professional to go in there.
Yeah.
Because, again, you know, I am 100% unbiased, right? Like, my price for doing a home inspection does not go up if you decide to buy the house or down if you just hand the walk away. My price is my price, and once I've given you all the information, that is, and I want to kind of hit on something you said earlier, because it's a really good point, and this is really for younger agents that are just kind of getting into it. Old vets like you know, right? That home inspection report,
Yeah.
that's a bulletized list of negotiable. And even talk about price now. We've got all kinds of room to negotiate inside this contract now, right? Where agents see it and they're like, oh my God, the home inspection report was awful. I think experienced agents go, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bit, here's what we could do now.
It's a big part of like what we're trying to do here now is in education and setting expectations. Two of my mantras: set expectations and educate. Before we even have the home inspection, I'm talking to them about what it's going to be like, what Paul's role is, that third party, that applies. He's going to give you a report. He doesn't care if you buy the house or not, but you and I are going to sit down, and I don't want you to freak out when you see 50 pages because look, this house was built in 1982. You're going to get 50 pages on it. And if you don't, and it's only 5, I mean, I've seen some really good home inspections before. So good that I've doubted if it was because like that. But that's a normal thing. And if I sit down with my client ahead of time and say, look, there's going to be some outlets with reverse polarity. There's going to be some open slices in the attic. And we can look at that, go down that road, like I said, negotiate. But if I'm like, hey, your next step is a home inspection, let me know what you think when you see the report. And there's no background and no education. I'm like, oh my God, this house is falling apart. I'm not buying a house anymore. I'm not buying a house anymore.
Easily. So professional guidance is very necessary. And I think for the realtor, I think it's incredibly important to build your team.
Yeah.
Right. Have that team of licensed professionals that you trust, that you know are, first and foremost, they're going to be thorough and they're going to do a good job. But more than that, they're going to shoot straight.
Yep.
Right.
Our team is so important.
Yeah.
I'll call the dream team. When I was selling, so I'm in management now, and Paul wasn't inspecting when I was selling yet, but I had a home inspector, I had a contractor, I had a loan guy, I had a termite guy, attorney, and a lender. And none of these people ever even took me to lunch. It wasn't about us having a mutual agreement to get to the closing. It did good things for my clients. They educated my clients. They stood behind their work, and that drinking is super important. And the home inspector is a huge part of that.
Yeah. Well, and selecting that team is incredibly difficult. I mean, for me, because we have the same thing, right? Like we offer in-depth HVAC inspections and assessments. I'm not licensed to do that. I bring in a subcontractor who is a licensed HVAC technician, but I've been through 4 of them.
Yeah.
Right. And we finally settled where we are because I know that these guys are not going to fluff information. They're going to do any of the scrupulous things.
We don't one of those that's hand me a new AC system every time. I think I fall off. I want something to do to buy it, and in which case I want them to be comfortable sitting in that as well, right?
So that's really, and I've got my termite folks, I mean, we work very closely with Johnny at Eco Advantage, and we, that is a service that we offer, right? So that you and the client don't have to go, try to find out who can do it and who can get there. I already have preferential treatment because we work so closely with that subcontractor. I can call him and have somebody there this afternoon.
Yeah.
If a realtor he doesn't work with calls him, he might be next Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. So understanding that, that team is incredibly important. And when and the biggest thing I think, and correct me if you feel differently, but for me, it's a values thing.
Mm-hmm.
Your company's values and your company's mission statement has to at least be walking down the same road as you.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Right. Like I believe firmly when the phone rings, you answer, unless it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right. Basically between 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. If I need you, man,
Yeah.
let's go. I promise I won't call you if it's not important, but if I need you, I need you. And not everybody works that way. I mean, that's okay, but you just can't work with me.
What would be one thing, kind of quick fire on 3 points? Like I was talking to Paul before I sat down, and what I hope the audience of this viewership is, let's do one thing you want a buyer to know, one thing you want a seller to know, and one thing you want your realtor to know about you and what you do.
Sure. So for the buyers, actually, no, this is for buyers and agents.
Okay.
I think I can answer that question kind of one time, and it really covers everybody. And this might be a little controversial. So sit down.
All right. We like controversy.
I do too. Yeah. I love to say things that fire people up. It's good times. So the reality of the situation is, in most industries, price equals quality.
Okay.
Right. So like, if you buy a really good pair of jeans for $90, and then you go buy a pair of jeans that look similar at Walmart for $19.99, chances are, as long as you don't grow out of them, which in our 40s, that's a thing.
It's a problem.
That's a problem. But the reality is, it's that $90 pair of jeans is probably still going to be in your closet, and you've probably that other pair maybe made it 18 months to 2 years before it started falling apart, so on and so forth. Right.
I agree.
So that's what I mean when I say price equals quality. This is no different, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always joke with people, I'm like, look, bargain shopping is fine, right? Try to save a little bit of money here and there when it's appropriate to do so. By all means, I think that's being a frugal, intelligent consumer.
Yeah.
You never buy cheap single ply toilet paper or cheap home inspections.
Yeah.
They're both burn your ass, man.
Yeah.
They're both gonna burn your ass. So, and can I say ass?
Absolutely.
Is that okay? Just no four-letter.
Yeah.
No four-letter word.
YouTube makes me say, is this for kids or not? I note down on everyone.
Kids in by an house. So, I think so, and I say that with the understanding that I know I'm in probably the 85th percentile as far as pricing. There are a handful that are out there that are more expensive than me. But for the most part, we are in that 85th percentile. Understand what I want agents to understand is simply this. You are not their lawyer. You are not their accountant. And here's why I say that. In the event that you call here and you say, hey, Paul, I just need the cheapest, fastest home inspection you can possibly get me into, I'm going to ring it up in the system.
You get that?
All the time.
Okay.
All the time. And I'm going to throw a number at you that's going to blow your mind here in a second. So we'll say, okay, cool, right? We send that off to the client. 72% of the time, Mike, 72%, these are 2025 numbers that we're working on right now. 72% of the time, that client will call us or we will reach out to that client and they will actually upgrade themselves and start adding additional services that they feel they need in order to get to the point where they are confidently moving forward in this transaction. So the reality of the situation is a standard home inspection answers the basic things that you probably need to know during a home inspection, right? But understanding that a basic home inspection is also the basic.
Yeah.
It is the baseline standard. There is no additional information coming out of a basic home inspection. So, in the event that you call here, understand I'm still going to send a contract to the client with an a la carte menu of other services that we provide and what they are intended to do. 72% of the time, man.
The buyers upgraded.
They upgrade themselves.
So
And that was how I don't have to upsell any.
all right, well, let's get to that. So you still got sellers, and we still got, you're answering realtors and buyers in one.
I've heard some agents, again, a little controversy, getting a little, yeah.
That's what podcast people are.
These home inspectors are starting to do upsells, and I won't go to that home inspector because they're trying to sell my clients on more things they don't need.
Sure.
I mean, what do you say?
Is this the seller's agent that's talking, or this is the seller?
That's real estate agents.
Real estate agents in
General. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not a mass thing. Agents aren't walking around town saying, but it comes up in conversation sometimes.
Oh, I love it. Because sometimes, again, for reference, sometimes the relationship between a home inspector and their agent can be a little adversarial because of the lack of education and expectation setting.
Absolutely.
So, like any community in any industry, there's people who get by and do their job. There's great realtors, there's bad realtors, etc.
So we'll just lump that into bad realtors, man. Bad realtors walking around town saying, man, Paul's just trying to upsell. Right? The sewer scope, you don't need a sewer scope.
Yeah. What the heck even is a sewer scope,
Yeah.
right? So there's a handful that I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
Because I love this question. This is actually
I knew you would. If you're not going to type anything, by the way, as long as I would have been talking about, I was like, talking about real estate home inspections.
we're gonna Joe Rogan tone this. I was just gonna talk and so yeah, buckle up again. Here we go. So how do I address that? Just because we kind of
Yeah.
So the question that you asked was, and correct me if I'm wrong, what do you, Paul, say to a seller's agent in the instance that they're saying, this dang, or well, any agent really, that's saying, these dang home inspectors, especially that pillar to post dude over there, he's always just trying to make a buck and upgrade people to this, that, and the other things.
With that idea in mind, you said 72% of the time the buyers upgrade themselves.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. What I would say is I kind of go back to what I said earlier. You're not their accountant. You're not their lawyer.
Yeah.
And the third new thing to answer that question is you're not the one living in the house.
Yeah. That's so true.
Right? I mean, let's be plain here. We're all business people. We're all professionals. You're not living in that house. They are. So as a real estate agent, and I'll ask you, Mike, I mean, what do you think gives you the right to tell them what they need and don't need?
You're absolutely right.
And are you willing to accept the responsibility in the event that they actually did need something? Because I have a great story for
Down a few. I want storytelling because I want to hear yours. That's fine to hear. But from being a broker in charge, I get the post-sale problems.
Yep.
And quick rundown. At least here in North Carolina, we're in a caveat interstate, which means buyer beware.
Mm-hmm.
Every home is technically sold as is, where is. Once that deed records, that's the red line in the sand. There's no warranty time. Now, you can get a home warranty, which I call a home mitigator, not a home warranty. Yeah, right. No government laws. No, I can turn it back in. So I get those calls and the issues after that are like, hey, your firm sold us a house and main sewer line's busted, and it's $3,500 to fix this. I'm not going to get to it anyway. And so I get those, and I see those, and that's why I'm very pro and wanted to have this conversation. I'm very pro home inspection process and home inspectors, good ones that aren't trying to kill deals. So that's where I'm coming from on it. And I know you got stories on it, but absolutely, it's not my place to say, hey, you don't need this or you need that, because the one time I say you don't need a radon test, because it's a kind of a rare thing, they come to find out later they got radon. I'm not you, anybody else. I'm the one sitting in the courtroom. My real estate license. Now, again, my fiduciary duties to my client, but also this is my livelihood, and this is how I feed my family right now. So I'm not going to take a biased stance on you don't need a radon test, you don't need a sewer scope. I'm gonna say you talk to Paul and you go through what you think is important and what you can lay your head down and sleep in that house at night. Now I want you to think about, I'm not a doom and gloom chaos person, but I want you to think about when you want to say, what's the sewer scope at? What is that?
It's like, I think
Okay.
205, 225, something like that.
We're buying a 1957 house, and I get it. There's a lot of costs between move-in and inspections and closing costs and talking to you about getting a home warranty on after. And I know that 200 is another hack at that right now.
Sure.
But imagine, and then this is what you go into your Florida. Imagine that after you close a week later, you have a main sewer line issue that's between the meter and the house. That's your responsibility. Knowing that there's no, I can't go back to the seller. I can't really go to the agent.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting in a courtroom, I'm going to say, Your Honor, here's our documents. I told them they had these options for home inspections. I don't have X-ray vision. I couldn't see there. I can only disclose what I know. I'm going to defend myself. And so I think about the things that you offer as a liability for the buyer, for the agent, for everybody. So I'm going to say you need to seriously consider all these things. There's some agents out there that say, and I know this is a home inspection side, but you don't need a survey. Nobody ever gets surveys because we probably do 1 out of 100 sales or surveys had a survey on it. But 99 out of 100 homes, the fence line's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And nobody knows until you get that neighbor that gets the survey. So I went on a rant to you, Mom, but I really wanted to put a little background on that. Sure. On it, what I think a good agent says, and I love you. I'm not their lawyer. I'm not their accountant. You know what I mean? I'm not the one that should be telling them. I would love them to say that. So go on. I'm sorry. I just went on the title now. And
Well, my context is important.
Yeah.
Obviously, right? Because I don't want people to think I'm just saying hateful things about real estate agents. At the end of the day, there are years. This relationship is years, right? So we can say hard things to each other. But beyond that, because we're professionals, and this is you are very good at what you do. I'm really good at what I do. So at the end of the day, it's I think this is a great opportunity. The average agent sells how many houses a year?
What's considered a productive agent is 1 a month.
Okay.
Some do 12 a month.
Right.
Some do 1 a year. But what's considered a good average across the board productive real estate agent is 1 a month.
Okay. So on average, agents are doing 12 a year plus or minus. That means now with all the showings and whatnot, they may walk into significantly more than that.
Absolutely.
But the ones that they're actually getting intimate with, 12-ish a year plus or minus. We get intimate with over 1,000 houses a year.
Wow.
So when you come to me, to use your 1957 expression, so you come to me with a house that was built in 1957, my brain immediately goes, okay, foundation, probably going to be some movement in the floor, probably going to be some dips in the floor, probably going to be some dips in the roof. Most likely going to be, unless it's been recently remodeled, it's going to be cast iron drain lines or galvanized drain lines. And the main sewer line is almost 100% guaranteed to be all cast iron.
Okay.
And we know the inherent risks with all of those materials and all of those different things. So I already know the moment you call here, I already know we need a premium package home inspection because I want to look at the doors and the windows and the sills. I want to see if there's anything that one includes our thermal imaging. Assessment of the house. And I want to look at the doors and the windows and the sills and the seals around all of those things. I want to look for residual moisture from maybe attic or roof leaks that we haven't seen. that we can't necessarily see because maybe it's running down inside the walls. It's not in the middle of the living room ceiling, right? It's running through the wall and we don't see it yet because there's a big chair right there. We have been staying on the baseboard, but nobody's seen it because that chair's been there for 30 years.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, that's the point of doing all of this stuff, right? I forgot where I was going with this.
Man, we were just going, but you know, I wanted to do no, but you know, we were getting into they were getting into the sewer scopes.
We're going to get to the sewer.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to give some background on how we come up with the idea of, hey, new home buyer, based off of the age of the house, its location.
So you do approach some houses different.
We approach every house.
Okay.
Well, here's the kicker. And this is one of the things I like to think kind of separates me from all of my competitors is we assess the house's location, and the client.
Okay.
Okay. So at the end of the day, you know, some clients are going to be much more discerning than others. Some buyers are going to be much more discerning than others, and they're going to want more information.
Okay.
When, you know, at the end of the day, I'm still going to tell them what I think they need, and I'm going to make recommendations based off of what I know about the particular location and the age of the home. Here are the things that I immediately am concerned about when you told me the house was built in 1957. Well, here are the services that we provide on top of the home inspection to kind of bring you some peace of mind with all of these concerns, right? In a lot of instances, people say, oh my God, yeah, never even thought about any of that stuff. Yeah, let's do it, you know? And great. And here's the kicker. Best case scenario is they spend the extra money to get those different services, and I get to come back and tell them, yes, well, man,
Yeah.
you got nothing to worry about. Your dream house is still your dream house. Congratulations. That unfortunately doesn't happen very often. You know, but a lot of times we're in that middle.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, you know, we did find X, Y, and Z, but it's a relatively easy repair. It's certainly, you know, nothing to sleep over. Or it is, hey, this is a pretty significant thing, and you need to make sure you understand the potential ramifications of it if you decide to move forward. You know, but your realtor is obviously going to be the one that you guys kind of figure this out with. I need you to understand context and why I say it's a problem. So education is essentially what we do. We're educating the clients so that they can make an intelligent buying decision or not buying decision.
Yeah.
You know, I'll kind of get into the story. I mean, you'd probably see me and Mike keep laughing about it because I told the story the other day and he was like, holy crap, I got to get that on camera.
Yeah.
So we had a gentleman, his realtor called and said, you know, hey, we need to get a home inspection done. My client is pretty short on funds and we just need to get this done. And I said, okay, great. You know, we'll get it taken care of. So we started putting it in the system and I'm looking at the house and I'm like, oh, okay. All right, older home, you know, late 70s, larger home, all brick. So it's like, okay, so potential foundation issues, potential wall structural wall issues. Most likely, hopefully, it's just brick veneer that we see cracking. It's like, see the cracks in the pictures. You know, I'm like, okay, all right, fair enough. I'll reach out to the client and make sure they understand everything that we're doing. So I reach out to the client and he goes, my realtor told me you were probably going to try to upsell me with stuff, and I just want blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, sir, listen, I at least for me, I'm a professional. That's what I do for a living. For me, so I can sleep tonight, I at least need to know that I told you about these things. And then if you don't want it, that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't have a gun to your head. Like, if you don't want it, it's fine. He goes, nope, I don't want none of that crap. I said, okay, bro, I got you. So we get them all rung up, go out, do the home inspection. Everything goes well. It's a pretty good home inspection. Got a few slow drains, but I mean, like nothing crazy, you know. And obviously the report was probably 40 some odd pages long. So I mean, all in all, pretty well maintained house. So they, you know, fast forward several weeks, it gets closing. They're all super excited. The agent does their Instagram post about, you know, so
The home's closed.
done.
It's done. It's over.
They own the house.
Okay.
They moved in. This was a Thursday. They start moving in Friday, Saturday. What's the first thing people do when they buy a new house?
Yeah, pizza,
Yeah.
clothes, deep cleaning a lot of times.
Yeah, and that's very water
intensive,
right? Lots of water around there. Everybody wants to wash their clothes in the new house. They want to run the dishwasher 85 times.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, so there's a huge demand load that goes on to that plumbing system. Well, right about lunchtime on Sunday, they had a class 3 flood in the house. The entire main sewer line had a total blockage in it. About, I don't know, maybe probably 10 or 15 feet past the original clean out. It took a few thousands of gallons of water for it to finally back up into the house.
So we're not just talking water, we're talking sewer.
We're talking raw sewage. Yeah, this is like a hazmat scenario. Like they had to move out.
On moving weekend.
On moving weekend, they were moving out
Okay.
into a hotel while Surf Pro comes in, and I don't know if they use Surf Pro, but I'm just saying a Surf Pro type company now has to come in and dispose of carpet, flooring, furniture, everything, right? So huge insurance claim that goes into this thing. And so the first thing that their homeowners insurance says is like, I guys been there for 2 years. Didn't you get a home inspection? And they're like, yeah, that guy was terrible. He didn't tell us anything about this.
And for reference, and I understand the mindset when this happens to a buyer, they want to point fingers at somebody. And I understand the mindset. I just bought a house. Yeah, but they're calling the realtor, they're calling the home inspector, they might even be calling the closing attorney's office, the VA. I mean, they're calling everybody because they feel victimized by something. And I understand that. But again, North Carolina, caveat emptor, when the deal closes, the house falls on a sinkhole, that's your sinkhole.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm sorry.
No, but it's an absolutely true thing, and it needs to be reiterated as many times as possible. Because I think a lot of agents will kind of fall into that trap as well. They kind of get emotionally attached and they feel bad.
Yeah.
Right. Well, guess what? I feel bad too. I mean, I felt terrible when that guy called.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He was on level 10, man. Yeah. He was upset. And so I went back through and I looked at the home inspection and I said, we talked about slow.
He called you.
After he called us realtors, realtor said we need to call the home inspector. They should have found that during the check and so on and so forth. Right. Education. Yeah. So that's why we teach for anybody that wants to come and figure out what a home inspection is supposed to be. That's my plug.
No, absolutely. I'm going to plug them later in at the end of the end.
But anyway, so, realtor's like, no, you better call your home inspector. They definitely should have found that if it has to do with the plumbing system. So guy gets to me, hey, sir, I'm looking at your home inspection report. We called out slow drains in a couple of the bathrooms. I was like, did you have a licensed plumbing contractor come out and investigate the drain system in the home like we recommended? He's like, well, no. My realtor, said that y'all always write that stuff. And, given the age of the house, it's probably, just normal. And I was like, well, it says here in the notes in the record that we offered to do a sewer scope. Did we do that for you? He's like, well, no, I was just trying to upsell me stuff. So I said, no. I was like, okay, great. Now you see why. I was like, but sir, you have to understand, I tried to talk you through this. You were kind of adversarial about it, as though I were trying to harm you in some way. I was like, so at the end of the day, there's nothing I can do for you. I offered you a service, you declined it. We told you about some potential indicators and they need to be further investigated. You declined to do that. At this point, I feel terrible for you. I said, but here's what I would like to do. I was like, because at this point when I'm talking to him, he's already sitting on a $9,000 bill from an emergency plumber, right? To come out and at least get it to stop. And I said, well, did the plumber do a follow-on sewer scope for the rest of the primary sewer line? He's like, well, I have no idea. I was like, well, I would love to come out and just check it out now that you're no longer flooded and they've already cleaned everything out and whatnot. I'd like to come into the house, but I need your permission to do that. I'd love to do the sewer scope. He's like, I am not paying $200 for a sewer scope. He just fixed the sewer. Now, education problem here, right? This is not somebody that was educated in how plumbing systems work. Most homeowners aren't for the most part, right? So he's like, no, I ain't doing that. He's like, you guys are just trying to get more money out of me. I said, sir, I'll do it for free. I was like, I'm the owner of the company. Yeah. I don't need your $200 that bad. Yeah. At this point, I'm just curious. I'm going to see what's going to happen. So I get out there. He's like, oh, free? Sure, man. I can play out. So I go out there. It's like a Friday afternoon. I go out there and I get down into where the plumbing had been replaced by the plumber. And the plumber did a phenomenal job, right? Beautiful. Everything was brand new Schedule 40 PVC with the purple primer. And I mean, it was perfect, right? Look, a nice big 4-inch or 3.5, 4-inch clean out right down the side. I was like, perfect. Pop that joker off and I start running my camera down. Now, for those of you that don't know, a sewer scope is it's basically a very small, high definition camera that is attached to a semi-rigid fiber optic cable that's on a big reel. So I am essentially pushing a camera down through this main sewer line and recording everything on the way in and on the way out so that we can go back and analyze it later to see if there are any potential issues.
Are you seeing this in real time too?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a screen on the reel. So as I may be pushing the camera that way,
Okay.
but I'm watching the screen. So if I see something, I can back it up. I can zoom in. I can brighten the lights on the camera head so that we can get a good picture and do some actual useful analysis. So I get all the way through the new pipe, as you can imagine. New, looks great. As soon as we get to the foundation wall, it switches back to cast iron, and I made it 6 feet before I hit another total blockage. So, doing just a quick estimation, he might have had another 2 days, maybe 3, of normal usage before he had the exact same scenario again.
Oh
Yeah.
Well, that's certainly a horror story,
Yeah.
and
That's probably the worst one I have.
but that's so impactful. So again, Paul's a great friend of our company and does CE, which is realtors need 8 hours a year, 4 hours of general update and 4 hours elective. And Paul's gotten certified and is able to teach CE classes, 4-hour elective. And I've got agents in my office that have been in the business 20, 30, even 40 years. And I've heard that that's the best CE that they've ever been. So
Good.
but that story is unfortunate, but it is also, like you said, I mean, that one just really sticks with me. I'd rather you pay $220 and say, you're good to go, man.
Yeah.
Let me, for context, if that client had done a sewer scope and discovered that, they would have had a lot of options. They certainly wouldn't have a flooded house unless they chose to, but they would have either A, been able to negotiate and repair, so it fix it. We've had one recently where one of our agents was buying a house and he got a sewer scope and they found a cast iron blockage, roots and all this stuff. And they were able to negotiate and get the old main line to the meter net before they even bought. Peace of mind. He could have walked away from the set. He would have had a lot of information to make a lot of different choices, and most likely would not have been in a $9,000 situation.
Yeah.
That everybody around, unfortunately, would have to throw their hands up. So I love the story. I feel for that client very much. I was who it was, but it's so impactful, and to be able to pass that on to somebody that's saying, and like as the realtor, I get it. There's a lot of costs and purses in the home. Another video, but that's one cost that's really worth it. It really is. All right, so man, horrific story, impactful story. So back to that. What would you want a seller to know? Somebody selling their home, and they got an agent a lot of the time. They got this buyer they don't know buying, and they're tearing their house apart. Not literally, but they're picking their house apart that they've raised their family in for 30 years and has been well maintained. And I was in construction back, in the day. And man, I'm telling you, my house is good. What would you say to that seller?
Man, that's a good one. So we offer a package that we call our market ready inspection package. Okay. Pricing wise, it's not cheap. I mean, it probably starts around $550, $600, right? And what that does is it enables one of my licensed home inspectors. Now, I'm telling you, these guys are doing 1,000 plus of these a year.
Yeah.
These guys are good, right? Excuse me. And what it does is it enables the inspector to come through and go through the house first with a fine tooth comb. Make the seller and the seller's agent totally aware of everything that's going on inside that house. At that point, the seller and the seller's agent can strategically plan what they are going to fix and what they're not going to fix. They can kind of price the house accordingly. Like, say for example, I'd say you have a $35,000, structural issue in the back right corner of your foundation, right? You can now, as the buyer or the seller, excuse me. So now as the seller, you and your agent can work to say, I don't have 35 grand. I might fix it.
Guarantee that seller probably didn't even know. Didn't even know that.
Absolutely. Because who crawls around in that wall space? Like next to no thing, right? I'm a home inspector, and I go mine once a year.
Yeah.
I mean, so at the end of the day, what it does is, the seller and the seller's agent then are able to kind of strategically price the home, market the home, kind of, or then go and fix whatever they want to fix. And if they do it right, they can put the home inspection report with the things they fixed highlighted on the counter. Then they can put all the invoices for the things that they did fix, license whomever, date that it was repaired, total cost for repair, put it on the counter, be transparent. Let me tell you something, and this is a study that I did about 2 years ago, just with a handful of different sellers agents, and pulling in their data, not all from North Carolina, some more from other areas. What we found is that 35% faster, easier closings on the seller side, right? And the seller's sentiment initially was, gosh, that's a lot of money to have to finish. I'm going to sell my house and get out of here, right? Move on to my next chapter. What they found is that it was so much easier doing it that way because they were in the driver's seat the entire time. They were able to drive that transaction. They were not getting bombarded with, buyers coming in and doing their home inspections. And, I had one agent say something that it just really stuck with me. She's like, usually, when we're in this market, if I don't get 50 showings in the first 48 hours, I freak out a little bit. And on this one, I only got 6. We got 4 offers out of it.
Yeah.
Right. Because she had truly interested buyers who understood what they were getting into coming into that house.
Let me jump in on that on the realtor side of it.
Yeah.
When I first started selling real estate here in Fayetteville, there was an agent in town that I would hope my clients wanted to see her listings, resale listings. And when I went to show that listing, there was a pre-inspection sitting on the kitchen table. There was invoices, like you said, of what was fixed and what was not fixed. It was clear and open, and they were great deals. Sometimes the buyer would still get another inspection, and then sometimes they would say, this is a licensed North Carolina home inspection. They've done the repairs. They just saved themselves a little money. And the thought is that's a caveat emptor, buyer beware. We have something called a due diligence period where a buyer can do any inspection at any time during that period of time on a property. It can be a home inspection, an HVAC. I can have a seance in the house if I wanted during due diligence. You could do an inspection. But what happens then is that seller got an offer from the buyer. Now deposits have exchanged. That seller may possibly be under contract at another house he's buying.
Right.
And there's a lot at stake. And it usually is in a real estate deal. It's a big deal. But then the home inspection comes. And that $35,000 foundation issue that the seller honestly didn't, and the agent didn't know about, comes up. Seller can't afford it. Buyer doesn't want the house. The domino effect happens. And this is probably not the best word, but when you're negotiating these things in contract, it's almost under duress.
Yeah.
I don't mean that like you're not under duress, but it's almost there's so much pressure, there's so much emotion, like you said. Having a pre-inspection as a seller, I would argue would save you a lot of money.
It may not save you money up front, but it saves you the time.
Yes.
And time is money.
Yep.
Right?
Your deal will fall apart in most cases with a significant foundation issue. And again, extreme example, but if we know that ahead of time, we can change course on the plan. We can get quotes. We can get it mitigated. And then I get to lay a package out from buyer that says, here was the inspection result. There's a $35,000 foundation issue. It has been remedied by Rand Jack or whoever. Here's the documentation from a licensed North Carolina engineer or general contractor. Here's your package. And that usually mitigates all the worries about it.
What's funny is what I have seen in this, I love this industry because it's so transparent. I get to see both sides of it in some instances. And in a particular instance like that, the other side of that, maybe you still build your packet, but the packet says we're not fixing that.
Exactly.
We know about it. Now you know about
Yeah.
it. Here's 3 estimates from different, professional engineers who have laid out the cost and the time frame of what it's going to take to get this fixed.
Absolutely.
Right. So you might not get, cars lined up down the road at your open house and all this other stuff, but you're going to get the offers you do get are going to be solid.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're not spinning your wheels as a real estate.
I couldn't wait to sell our houses when if I had a client interested in it. I was like, all right, I hope they give me. Yeah. It's calm and clean deal.
That is going to be smooth, and that's that's really, I think for a professional real estate agent, as you're growing in your career, I think that is where you need to get to the point where you are no longer emotionally attached. You are looking for the best possible deal for your client that's going to meet their needs.
Yeah.
Fiduciaries.
That is some
Right.
wisdom right there. That is that fiduciary core, but don't get attached to the outcome.
Right.
Do the right thing for people in your real estate home inspection business, and we're not pro bono. You do the right thing for people, and the money will come.
Absolutely.
People will tell you about it. All right. So to recap, summarize. Number one thing you want a buyer/buyer's agent to know was you're not their accountant, you're not their lawyer. Don't get attached to the outcome. Educate, set expectations.
And cost matters,
Yeah.
not the way you think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
All right, let's talk more about the home inspection.
Okay.
You don't have X-ray vision. You said you're working on that.
Working on.
But what are the limitations to a home inspection?
So every house is different.
Yeah.
Right. Now we do have FLIR thermal imaging systems and things like that where we can make differentiations, and let me rephrase. We can make assumptions about particular situations based off of the data that's coming off of that thermal imaging.
Yeah.
Right. And at the end of the day, they're assumptions, and we have other tools that we bring in to try to build confirmation of a defect or a problem. So that's why I say we're perfecting that process, right?
Because a FLIR camera is not in any way, shape, or form a standard part of a home.
It's not. It's not. I mean, here's the thing: any homeowner can go to Harbor Freight for $150 and buy a thermal camera. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I could have 5. I have 6 of ours back there, and they're roughly $8,000. So these are professional grade, like licensed thermographers use these in industrial applications. We have now applied that same technology to the home inspection industry. So I say I can't see through walls. I can get a little bit, right? I can see the temperature differentiations from the different materials making contact with each other, and heat distribution and transference and 7th grade science stuff that doesn't really matter for this application. But that's what I meant when I said, like, we're working on it, right?
Yeah, you were starting to lose me on those.
Yeah. These are the transference. I quit paying attention. Yeah. But so obviously we have that, but with regard to limitations, we have to understand that, most of the structural components of the home with the walls and so on and so forth are covered.
Yeah.
Right. Sheetrock, paint, trim, baseboards, all that stuff is covered. Attics, sometimes, I'm 6'2" and 250 pounds, but there's some spaces I can't get into.
Yeah.
Right. So if your attic is only this deep, because you have an older home with a low pitched roof, I can't get in there and see the whole thing, right? So we're limited by space. We are also limited by personal belongings. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not a moving company, and everything I touch, I am taking responsibility for.
Yeah.
Right. Part of our ethical.
You can't go lift that every single rug up that Ronzi was getting hit.
Right, because you got to think. I mean, if I had to move every single piece of furniture and lift every rug and move it another way, a home inspection would take me 2 days, and I got 3 hours. So if the limitations are many. There are many limitations with regard to a home inspection. But some of the ones that people think are limitations are actually a blessing in disguise. Heavy rain.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, that's his name. Yeah, they were raining. I wanted some of my clients in inspection day if it's raining. I mean, I don't always at least you're gonna know if there's anything.
If that roof is leaking, we're gonna know. We're gonna know immediately. I don't even have to go look for it.
Yeah.
So this it really is one of those things, and then obviously in our standards of practice we have things that are just kind of off limits, right? So your home inspector reserves the right as a state licensed professional reserves the right to say whether they are or are not going to go into a crawl space, or if there's standing water or electrical lines that are down, or God forbid I open the door and I see eyeballs looking back at me, I'm closing the door right on in there. Isn't that your condition? Man, I see we're angry raccoons and cats and all kinds of weird stuff, man. So story for another podcast. But at the end of the day, home inspector does reserve the right to go into places and not go into places. And the only thing that we have to do, that we're obligated to do by our standard of practice, is to just state that limitation in the home inspection report. Say, I did not do this thing that I said I would do, and here's why.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Being October is close to Halloween. Little fun question. What is the scariest thing that you've ever seen? You said thousands of houses, open and crawl space, attics,
all that good stuff. What's the scariest thing you've seen in a house?
So this was the most like innocuous thing ever.
Okay.
Scared die. Right? So, and this was actually really early on in my career. So I was still, still learning the ropes and getting my rhythm down and everything. And so this house had a detached garage with a large storage attic over the two-car garage. Okay. They made it a point. They're like, no, we definitely want the carriage house and all that stuff inspected. So in that instance, I treat it just like the other structure, right? We do the roof, the walls, the foundation, everything, electrical. So I'm at the part where I have to get up into the attic. And they did a really good job of cleaning everything out, except for this one little rocking chair that was over like off our side.
In an attic.
In an attic.
One little rocking chair.
Random rocking chair. I was hoping it wasn't the timeout chair. I was like, I don't know, maybe some people set up here. That'd be terrible. But so like I get up and I see, and I got my flashlight. I'm like, no big deal. And so I come up through the attic. It's over here. I go that way, right? It's just part of my process. Whatever room I enter, I immediately go left. And that's how I
Is that the roads hair clear?
is. And I tell my new guys when I train, I'm like, I don't give a darn which direction you go. Just pick a direction and stay left, right? So I always come in and go left. And as I get in that way, I hear the, and I look, and the freaking rocking chair is rocking. And I was like, there was like there was the instant dread, and then there was, you're a grown man. You're fine. Stop it. And then I take another couple steps and it stops. Like, not like gradually stops, like it stops. 2 more steps and it starts doing it again. Now I'm like, okay, I'm
not expecting that.
yeah. Now I'm scared / angry that this little rocking chair has got me like with the hair on my sleeve. So I do what any red-blooded American would do. I ran over there real quick and I'm gonna fight whatever it was. And it turned out that one of the walking boards that they had extended across the entire top, every time I stepped on it, it came over on the other side and it made the rocking chair move. And I just sat down in the attic and laughed. I was like, I'm so glad. I am so glad. CEO of the company. I was so glad nobody was here to see that. But then I tell the story every opportunity.
Oh, that's a good.
I felt like an idiot, but it scared the hell out of me.
Well, you're by yourself in an attic. That's at the end of the rocking chair for what's her name? No, been waiting for you. Like, there's no reason under the sun.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate this, and I feel like we need a part 2 because I feel like there's so many things, but I know I can't dominate your day.
Sure.
So we're definitely going to do this again. Final thoughts. Tell everybody how to get a hold of you, and I will put Paul's info in the description.
Most definitely. So you can call us here at the office at 910-893-2590. Use option 1 for custom quotes and for scheduling, or you can use option 2 if you want to talk to any of our inspectors. If you have an inspection related question. Alternatively, you can get us online at pillar2post.com/Holt Group. You can, if you're a buyer or a buyer's agent, you can get quotes built through our online booking process. You can look at the schedule, see what things are going to cost and how soon we can get it done for you. And then we're on all of the social media networks, right? So Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. So please look for us, Pillar2 Post _Holt Group, HLTGRP.
Yeah.
And you can find us and check out all of our social media.
And Paul and me were talking at the break. You don't have to just have a home inspection just because you're buying or selling a home.
Oh gosh.
I mean, yeah, and maybe we'll pick this up on part 2 sometime. But if you've been in your home a year and you get your husband a good honey-do list, I mean, it's a really good thing to know the systems of your home. A little tiny leak inside the wall caught now can save you thousands later. So I'll just drop that one. We'll talk more about it. Again, I'm Mike Solomon. I'm the broker in charge at Coldwell Banker Advantage Real Estate here in Fayetteville. And you can connect with me in any of the information in the comments.